Elizabeth at Literary Princess. If you are new here, welcome. I have a PhD in English literature with a focus on Victorian women novelists, and as you might expect, I love to read. Today I have for you the kind of a wrap-up for my 18th century novel project. If you are not familiar with this project, I decided at the beginning of 2025 that I would read 12 books from across the 18th century, mainly because I felt I was very deficient in that time period, except for like the very end, like the 1790s, which is when the Romantic era kind of begins. So I wanted to kind of go across the whole century with 12 different novels to kind of see the development of the novel and how did we eventually get to the 19th century novel, which is what I study. So I picked 12 books that are considered pretty important works. Unfortunately, the 18th century is very male-dominated, particularly the canonical works. However, I did get a good amount of women writers in here. I tried to have it be fairly equal. So today I am going to be ranking them, and then at the end I will kind of talk a bit about what I got out of this project, I guess. So let's jump in. All right, ranking the 18th century novels, coming in at number 12. And if you've been watching, this is no shock to anyone. The Life and Opinions of Tristram Shandy, Gentleman by Laurence Sterne. This was published across a very wide period of time, but the final installment was published in 1767, and that is generally when we put the publication date as, for some reason. I hated this. I gave this 1 star. I can appreciate that Sterne is doing a lot of experimental stuff here. Like, I'm so happy for you, my guy. I didn't like it. I didn't like it at all. Not enough plot for me. Tangents galore. I was, shut up, get to the point. I truly, truly hated this. So yeah, this is dead last, and I'm unhauling it, which you might know if you watched my shelf reorganization video. This was rough. This was really rough. Coming in at number 11, we have Gulliver's Travels by Jonathan Swift from 1726. 1726, yes. So I did not hate this nearly as much as Tristram Shandy. I actually gave this 2.5 stars. Like, there are definitely some funny parts of this. It's not my type of humor, is part of the problem. The other part of the problem is that because I am so unfamiliar with what was going on in the early 18th century, is I don't know what Swift is satirizing here, really. And the notes can only help so much. Again, definitely some funny parts, but it's just not my brand of humor. So I can appreciate that it's an important work. I can appreciate that Swift is a good writer, but it just wasn't for me, and that's okay. Coming in at number 10 is another 2.5 star book. This is Love in Excess by Eliza Haywood from 1719. I would say that this was actually the most disappointing of any of these books to me because I was really looking forward to reading an early 18th century woman writer. I appreciated a lot of the themes in this, and I did find it very interesting, but I wouldn't call it enjoyable. The male main character, oof, God, I did not like following him at all, at all. And it almost felt better suited to be a play than a novel, which I did talk a bit about in my video on it. Of course, for all of these, I do have like full videos they do have spoilers and give away parts of the plot, but they do go further into my thoughts on the book, and they give a summary of what the book is about, which I'm not doing here. Yeah, so thematically this was very interesting, and I'm glad that I read it, but I can't say that I liked it. Coming in at number 9 is The Vicar of Wakefield by Oliver Goldsmith from 1766. I gave this 3 stars. It's a book. There were some parts that I was really into. I really wanted more character development, I think was my biggest problem with this. Particularly for the title Vicar's daughters, who are like majorly important in the plot. I just wanted more of their personalities and less of the vicar's preaching. But yeah, no, it's a good book, and I'm glad that I read it because it has a very important place in English literature. Jane Austen references it multiple times, particularly in Emma. And it was considered a very popular book. I mean, even a century later, in 1864, Mary Elizabeth Braddon has her characters talking about it. So I'm glad that I have seen what it's about, but I don't think I would feel the need to reread it. Coming in at number 8 is The History of Tom Jones by Henry Fielding from 1749. This is also a 3-star read for very different reasons than The Vicar of Wakefield. As you can see, they are vastly different sizes. I really liked the plot of Tom Jones a lot. I was incredibly invested in the relationship between Tom and his love interest, whose name will hopefully be on the back because otherwise I'm not going to remember it. It's not on the back. Oh my god, why is the font in here so tiny? Ooh. I just want to know her name. I just want to know her name. Well, whatever her name is. I was really invested in that story. The problem is that Fielding goes off on so many tangents that I was just like, okay, dude, get back to the story. Get back to the plot, please. It's also a picaresque novel, which is not my favorite genre. But I did ultimately like it, unlike Tristram Shandy, where the tangents were so overwhelming that I was like, I can't even deal with you. Like, I didn't like the tangents, but I did like the plot. And I would definitely watch a film adaptation of it, but I don't think I would reread it. At number 7, we have Mary, a fiction by Mary Wollstonecraft from 1788, which I have here in a bind-up with her Maria, or The Wrongs of Women, and her daughter Mary Shelley's Matilda. I gave this 3.5 stars. This needed to be longer. Like, of this book, this much is Mary. I wanted things fleshed out. I liked the plot. I was interested in the characters. I wanted more from it. And that was really the reason it was not 4 stars, is because it just needed to be longer. Like, it's barely a novel. I don't even think I would call it a novel. It's more of a short story. It's actually the shortest one in here, I think. And that's with Maria, which is unfinished. So, you know. But I would reread it, and I am very glad that I read it. It needed to be longer. Coming in at number 6 is one that I'm actually really surprised was as far up as it is. This is Robinson Crusoe by Daniel Defoe from 1719. This was the first book of the project. And I went in fully expecting not to like it because I did not like Defoe's Roxana. And also, novels this early in the century don't have chapter breaks, which is just bizarre. And also, it's like very imperial in its messaging, you know. However, I actually did really enjoy it. I liked Robinson Crusoe's character development. Once Friday shows up, things get really good too, like really action-packed. The beginning is slow, I will say that. The beginning is very slow because he's just on this island by himself. And also he makes the dumbest decisions, but that also was kind of fun for me because I got to be like, you're an idiot! But yeah, once Friday shows up, it gets so exciting. So I ended up really enjoying this. I gave it 4 stars and I would totally reread it. Coming in at number 5, and this is actually, to be fair, more of a tie with number 4. I just like arbitrarily picked one to put in number 5. And this is The Female Quixote by Charlotte Lennox from 1752. This was also 4 stars. This was just fun. This is a really good time. You can see where it influenced Jane Austen's Northanger Abbey. You can see where it influenced the even later The Doctor's Wife by Mary Elizabeth Braddon. It was just hysterical. And like poking fun at this concept that, oh, if women read novels, they're gonna think that that's real life and they're gonna act in these ridiculous ways. Like, nobody's doing that, dude. So it's really just making fun of that concept. And it was a great time. The main character, Lady Arabella, is a little bit much, but it's a good romp. So number 4, but like also kind of just tied with The Female Quixote, is A Simple Story by Elizabeth Inchbald from 1791. Again, 4 stars. This is really interesting because of the dual, like it's almost 2 separate stories that are vaguely connected. But I got really invested, particularly in the first half, although even the second half I was invested in, just in a different way. And again, it was just really fun. And I enjoyed reading it. I've also read a lot about this book because my friend Michaela wrote one of her dissertation chapters on it. So I've spent a lot of time with it, even before I had read it. So that also might be why I like it so much, is because I had read so much about it. So we are to the top 3, and coming in at number 3 is The Italian by Anne Radcliffe from 1797. This is so fun. This is a great example of early Gothic literature. Some of the scenes in this are just so creepy and edge of your seat. And did I think that sometimes it went on a little long? Yes, but not as long as The Mysteries of Udolpho. And the villain, Schedoni, I don't know if that's how you pronounce it because I don't speak Italian. But he's just this really fascinating character and like a really complexly drawn villain, which I just appreciated so much. And just the creep factor is so good. So yeah, I really enjoyed this a lot. It was also 4 stars, but like it would probably be like 4.25 if I did quarter-star ratings. Number 2 is Camilla by Frances Burney from 1796. I just filmed the video on this one, so I don't have much more to say about it. I really enjoy Burney's writing. I like her characters. I liked the plot of this. Is it too long? Yes. Yes, it is. But I was able to overlook that just based on how much I enjoy reading her writing and these characters and just seeing what they get up to, because it is very interesting. So yeah, this is at number 2. Also 4 stars. Oh, would it be? You see, I deliberated a really long time between this and The Italian as number 2. I'm like, would this be 4.25? I don't know. Maybe The Italian should be number 2. I don't know, but I read both of them very recently, and like my just gut feeling is that Camilla is number 2. Because there were parts in there were parts in Camilla where I was freaking irritated and like, get on with it. but I think plot-wise, I like Camilla more. Like the Italian, I appreciate the atmosphere and the villain. Whereas this, I really like the story quite a lot. Whereas the story of the Italian, I'm like, oh, whatever. It's a story. But this, I really liked the plot. So, I don't know. I guess it evens out. So it's staying at number 2. And so that leaves one book. And honestly, this is surprising to me as well. It's another surprise. Not quite as surprising as Robinson Crusoe, but almost. And that is Pamela by Samuel Richardson from 1740, sitting at number 1 at my favorite of this project with a 4.5-star rating. I initially had given it 4 stars, but I just kept thinking about it and how much I enjoyed it, and I realized, wow, no, it needs to go up to 4.5. It can never be 5 just because of how many problems there are with this. Like, there's so many problems with this. I should not like this as much as I did, but I liked Pamela's narrative voice. I enjoyed her strength of character. I loved that she jumped out a window at one point to get away from people. Like, I was just pleasantly surprised with how enjoyable this was and how much of an interesting character, like main female character, Samuel Richardson managed to make. Because I'd heard a lot of people don't like this book and think Pamela's too perfect and oh, it's too much, she's too virtuous. I didn't find that at all. Like, she is virtuous, but she stands up for herself all the time. And like I said, she jumps out a window. It's a first floor window, but still, it's a window. So I genuinely just really, really liked this. And you know, if it weren't for Mr. B and the fact that they actually get married at the end and it's a happily ever after, it might have been a 5-star read. But yeah, I just really liked it. So that is my ranking of the 18th century novels. What do I feel I have learned from this project? I feel like I have a much better grasp of the 18th century as a whole and the major themes that they were looking at and interested in and concerned about, and how those themes evolved throughout the century, and how they then became part of stuff in the 19th century novel. I have found that I still like late 18th century stuff best. You'll notice that like the top ones were, with the exception of Pamela, the other top ones were all from the 90s. I think that's just, it's closer to the 19th century novel. And I mean, my master's is in romantic and Victorian literature, so I do really like romantic literature. So I guess it's not that surprising that those would continue to be some of my favorites. But I was pleasantly surprised by a lot of the early stuff. And yeah, I feel like I have a better, like, cultural touchstone almost for some of these, because Robinson Crusoe and The Vicar of Wakefield are ones that get brought up so much. And I mean, I've also seen Tom Jones be brought up, and the female Quixote, and obviously Anne Radcliffe. So I feel like I just have a better grasp on what it means when I see those books being referenced in 19th century books now. And I'm really glad that I had that. I'm so glad that I did this project. I'm kind of pushed out of my comfort zone, because these early 18th century stuff, I was like, not my comfort zone at all. But I'm really glad that I did it. And it's been a good time. And I definitely want to continue reading 18th century literature. I do want to try another one from Eliza Haywood, because I don't know. I really want to like her. I guess probably just because she is a woman writer, but I really want to like her. So I want to read more by her. I would read more by Henry Fielding. I'm definitely going to be reading Clarissa by Samuel Richardson, and I am also interested in Sir Charles Grandison. Frances Burney, I will be completing her final novel at some point, definitely. Anne Radcliffe, again, definitely. I'm very interested to read Lover's Vows by Elizabeth Inchbald. I don't know much more about what Charlotte Lennox did, but I would be interested to look at more from her. And I'm actually very interested now in revisiting Roxana by Daniel Defoe and checking out some of his others, possibly Mel Flanders. So yeah, I'm gonna continue reading 18th century literature. And I'm just really glad that I did this project to kind of jumpstart that. So let me know down in the comments, have you read any of these? What are your rankings for some of them? Do you agree with my opinions, disagree? If you enjoyed this video, please don't forget to give a thumbs up and subscribe to see more of my bookish content. It has been great chatting with you. I will see you soon. Bye.